Now, police investigating the murder of a British family in the French Alps say the man they're holding is suspected of arms trafficking, but at the moment, there's no obvious link to the killings. 3 members of the Al-Hili family and a passing cyclist were shot dead in September 2012. Sky's Harriet Hadfield reports now from France.
This is the last photograph taken of the Al-Hili family together. Just 13 minutes later, the parents were dead. Brutally murdered in a shooting that killed 4 people. It was released by French police alongside this one of the family car, captured immediately after the attack. Searches of properties in the area have now led to a second arrest. 2 men are now suspects, described as friends, and both possibly involved in arms trafficking.
Les enquêteurs ont découvert.
The inquiry discovered around 40 firearms at his home and at the home of his parents-in-law. These included handguns and guns from the Second World War. They also found grenades, so the special service got involved.
L'enquête a permis également d'établir dès hier soir.
The inquiry also established that business was carried out with a friend of his, who tried to escape when police arrived at his house last night. He's now also in custody. There were other arms at his house that were not involved in the crime, such as munitions, explosives and detonators.
Among the weapons discovered by detectives was this antique Luger pistol, the same type of weapon used in the shootings. It was found at the home of this man, Eric Devoisseau, a father of 3 described by the prosecutor as a violent man, a former police officer. He would have been serving in the force when the attack took place. He was arrested after detectives were alerted of his resemblance to an e-fit issued to the public a few months ago. The news now of arrests here in France have been of interest to Saad al-Hili's brother Zain, who has himself been a suspect in the past.
Well, of course, I mean, anything is better than nothing. We'll see what happens. We can't raise our hopes.
The suspects have been taken here to Chambéry police station for questioning, just 30 miles away from Lake Annecy and the scene of the crime. These latest revelations, 2 people in police custody, their apparent obsession with weapons and possible links to arms trafficking, all difficult to imagine happening just moments away from the beautiful Lake Annecy. Other houses in the area are still being raided and searched by police, but the prosecutor has warned there's still no motive, no connection to the victims, and he says the mystery hasn't been solved yet. Harriet Hadfield, Sky News, Annecy.
Harriet's live in Annecy for us tonight. What sort of noises are the police making tonight, Harriet? Do we think the 2 cases are going to separate and not be joined at all?
Well, really, all we know tonight is that 2 men are now being questioned in the gendarmerie behind me. They have got double the French limit of 48 hours to question them, and that's because they brought in the use of really anti-terror laws. We had thought that was due to the complexity of the shootings themselves, but now this wider criminal picture is starting to emerge. It seems that when they were searching the house of the first suspect, Eric Devoisseau, they found evidence that led them to a second house that belonged to a friend of his. And when they searched that house, they found further evidence of this arms trafficking. He absolutely stunned journalists in the press conference earlier when he mentioned arms trafficking. He says that Eric Devoisseau was in the area at the time. His mobile was used in the area at the time, but he's unclear exactly what his involvement may have been. So as I said, double the amount of time, 4 days. Police will have to make a decision about whether to charge 1 or 2 of these men by Friday evening or Saturday morning at the latest.
Harriet, thanks very much indeed. Harriet Hadfield there in Annecy for us.